Okay. Thanks. So hi everyone. Today we have with us Tate Schrock, who's a Morgan, Washington Bi-County Science Fair and Colorado State Science Fair contestant. He's also a three-time ISUP finalist, and he'll be sharing with us his experience today.
Hi there, my name is Tate Schrock. I'm from Northeast Colorado, and like you heard, I am a three-time ISUP finalist. And I'll go ahead and tell you a little bit more about me. I also am very interested in high-altitude balloons, and I've coordinated quite a few missions among many groups and many parties, and this includes my school even too. I've been tracking balloons for the National Weather Service and NOAA for the past 1.5 years. I upload data to SondHub for anybody in the world to see and to download and reuse that data. And I also recover balloons for NOAA too, and these include ozone balloons, and these include atmospheric particle sensors. I've also created and flown multiple other payloads too, and I'm also a founder of the SPAR program, which is soon to be released, so be looking out for that. As you heard, I'm an ISEF participant. In my first year, which was 2019, I got third in engineering mechanics for my project Soil Probe Rover, and that was a rover that I constructed out of basic materials and an electronics box you see in the top right image there. And in the second year, it was 2020, which was canceled, which my project, even though it was canceled, was autonomous glider for radio sound recovery, which I took to the regional and to the state science fair. In 2021, I was a finalist for this year, and I created the project Autonomous Surveillance UAV, creating about a 5 or 6 foot wingspan plane that would go about 35 miles per hour with a max speed of 45 miles per hour, and be able to stay in air up to 10 minutes and go about 15 miles on a good day. And this was all in efforts to gather data for my family farm and to overall efficientize the use of data inside civilian industry, and to also just make life easier for my family farm. In FFA, I'm committed to serving various community projects. I'm highly committed within the school of creating various little knickknacks that I'm requested upon in creating, say, electronics for a community game, or just organizing FFA week activities. I'm also extremely involved in creating a greenhouse for the school to use for serving food out of, as in growing food in the greenhouse and then serving food to our students in the school. And that's a very tedious task where I'm charged with plumbing and electrical and overall construction of that project too. In FBLA, I've became the Gold Award at the state and regionals in networking design. For networking concepts, I got Gold Award at regionals. And for Virtual Business Challenge, which is this year, I'm a national nominee and yet to compete in that, but we'll see how that turns out. The IAS, or the International Association for Astronomical Studies, I'm highly involved in that too, in creating a HAB vehicle, which is a high altitude balloon vehicle that will return to launch after release at about 100,000 feet, and also in creating a RF and optical observatory for observing the astronomical events and also outer planetary bodies. And also HAB inside of there too, in creating payloads that will go to the edge of space, and overall RF specialist in that matter. GOES Downlink is a project that I did back in 2019 where I've pulled data off of a geostationary satellite currently positioned as GOES West above the Pacific Ocean inside the geostationary orbit. I utilized a 2.5 meter approximate parabolic grid dish antenna to directly point it at there and downlink data through a software-defined radio, and to be able to decode that data into pictures that you see on the screen there. And that monitors weather for NOAA and for the NWS, and can also be used for data on multiple other civilian industries too. In this robotics camp, I've mainly taken charge of that the past 3 or 4 years, and that has been held at my local event center, where it's a 1 week project, 1 week program in grades, I think about 4 to senior level grades, can participate in creating robotics projects and even learn such things as C++ and Python programming, and be able to get their first hands-on experience in electronics and electrical engineering, and overall engineering for that matter. At Schrock Farms, which is where currently I live, and I commit a lot of time to that too, I'm a heavy machinery operator, and I'm responsible for maintaining fields in trucks and equipment, such as maintaining fields, planting them, cultivating them, and overall harvesting them in the summer and fall. And that has been my, I guess, spare time task that I've been involved in, as I really have no other choice. And finally, Nova Crypts Mediair, where I've created multiple UAVs for testing, and I've developed the ground station and UAV code and all of that mostly. And I've also made flight controller for UAVs and overall just aircraft design and testing on my place out here. And that concludes what I have. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah. So as a three-time ISA finalist, what general advice would you have for people looking forward to joining this career path?
It's stressful, but it pays off in the end. And you're going to learn and you're going to experience so much within it. You're going to learn basic problem-based learning. You're going to learn dedication to your work, and you're overall going to be coming out of it with a better understanding of what you do. In my projects, I've always seen that I hardly know anything to start out, or I know very little, and I improve on what I learn, and I overall develop what I learn into a product and present it at that ISEF. It's great all around, and you'll learn and meet so many new people when it's back in person.
All right. How did you get started with all your fieldwork and programs?
With field work and programs?
Yeah, you're collecting the data for, sorry, I forgot what it was, but and the NOAA stuff and everything.
So I've mainly self-driven myself into being able to do that. I've always had an interest in that kind of stuff, so I might as well pursue it while I'm young, and so therefore why I did it. And overall, it's been fun, but also extremely challenging, and also in the fact of I want to see my agricultural-based community improve and further succeed into the future, and therefore why I create these products and invent in these types of areas to be able to improve life out here for everyone else, including me.
Yeah, just to bounce off that question. So one of your projects you mentioned was the Spark program. So would you mind taking us into the details of that?
So the SPAR program is targeted to schools and small groups. It stands for Scientific Platform for Atmospheric Research. It is a balloon payload that will go up to the edge of space and be able to be housed experimental payloads from students as far as inside of groups or even in the classroom environment. It encompasses everything from engineering to electronics all the way to RF and even to video production at the end. It encompasses also the flight, the filling of the balloon, the launch, and the tracking of that to kickstart people's or little students' interest into high altitude balloon and overall engineering.
All right. And obviously winning competitions has a lot of rewards and benefits, but what was an unexpected one?
Unexpected, I suppose, is being third at ISEF my first year of ever competing. That was something that I never really expected I'd ever do. I've always heard stories. Oh, I went to ISEF and I never made it at first try. And a couple of other projects never made it. I was fortunate enough to have such a great project and to commit so much of my time to it in the past, I think, 3 or 4 months of developing it, that it managed to get third at ISEF my first time around. And that was pretty unexpected for me.
Would you mind elaborating more on the specifics of the project?
So that project was a soil probe rover. I created an entire electronics box for controlling and navigating that rover there. It communicated from that box to the rover, but also to the ground station. That ground station had a fully fledged program that I developed where it incorporated the video stream coming off of it. It had a pan tilt and pan axis gimbal on it to where you could see what you were drilling, but also control the drill and the driving from there. That drill would take core soil samples of wherever inside of that field that you wanted. Say the field was a mile long and a half a mile wide. It would go out there and drill inside of the soil, collect a probe about 12 inches down, store that, move on to the next drill site, drill the same soil sample, collect all of those samples, and come back to the edge of the field at the end of the probing, and be able to take all of those samples, send them into a lab, and have that lab analyze the soil and to tell you whether you need to apply more nitrogen or whether you need to apply more phosphorus in order to develop the best crop that you possibly can, but also to keep soil health and maintenance inside of that cropland usable for future generations.
I see. So, what about your plans for the future? Because I've seen you've done a lot of different projects in different fields. So I was just wondering what specific field that you would you want to go into?
Current point in time is quite undecisive. I have a lot of things that I'm currently pondering. However, I haven't made a permanent decision on it. But I am looking at a USAF for enlistment and for overall experience inside the Air Force, as that'll be pretty cool. But I think I also want to develop my projects further and to actually create them into products and to be able to sell them on the general market to anyone. So currently undecided.
All right. So I think that concludes everything for today. Thank you so much, Tate, for joining in. And for everyone watching this, we'll see you next time then. Thank you.
Thank you.